Yeah, it took me a while to fix something with my computer, and I had some work to do, like work.
Don't do work.
I get paid a lot to do work. I'm almost being paid enough to where I care.
No matter how much money they pay me, I'm not going to care.
Yeah. I take a moderate amount. See, this is why I like collaborating with you, but I would never hire you at a company ever. If you were, I would not hire you at a place where you reported to me.
Why not?
Because you wouldn't do any work.
I do the amount of work necessary and no more. What more do you need done?
Well, we'll see. I'm the one who determines what's necessary.
If you determine that more than 40 hours of work a week is necessary, I'll quit.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. 40 hours a week is already like, we got to drop that as a society. All right, anyway, we're good to go. I've moved all my shit around. Got the chat out. There's people hanging out. Let's do it. It's Thursday, November 19th, 2020. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we are talking about hoodies and possibly jackets. So, we actually planned to do this show a couple weeks ago, but I had a thing come up and we bailed on the show. But then, just a couple days ago, it got cold. So it's actually more topical now than it was 2 weeks ago.
Sure. Burr.
Yeah, it's
cold.
Yeah, it was cold enough to where I actually had to go around and like turn up the heat in all the different rooms and like
heaters are now on, but I have the heaters set to like 68, which is like what's recommended or whatever, so they don't turn on that much.
Yeah, mine are in because there's 3 zones and they're 3 independent units, but
I got 3 independent units. Yeah.
The number that it shows, like the number on that thermostat, does not line up to a real temperature. It's basically just relative. Like it is a temperature number, but because of where the sensors are, they are all like accurate to themselves, like they're consistent, but they're not consistent among each other. So I have one set to like 74, one set to like 68, and one set to 70.
Oh, I mean, it seems fine in here. The apartment's well insulated. When the sun shines in, it gets really warm, even if the heaters aren't on.
Yep.
You know, it's like, we're definitely not. It never gets so cold in here that like we're like, bird, turn up the heat, right? We just put on a hoodie or a blanket or whatever. And
yep. I mean, I'll admit, I like to be in shorts and t-shirt in my entire life, and I like my home to be that warm, which thankfully in New York doesn't really cost anything. Even if I turn the heat off, it's usually short and t-shirt weather inside of our apartment.
Okay, so we had a hard time coming up with any news today, so let me geek bite this thing.
Yep.
Whatever.
I got a similar thing because there's no news really except the coup attempt and COVID and the hurricanes.
All right, so Super Mario, not the any other Mario that you might be thinking of, is 35 years old.
I'm just thinking of regular Giuseppe.
Yeah. So one of the things they did is they released this Mario Brothers Game & Watch, right? So it's a Game & Watch just like the old Game & Watches. The only difference, obviously, is that the form factor is the same, but the battery is USB-C rechargeable battery.
Not like what AAA's or whatever went in the original Game & Watch.
Yeah. And the screen is vastly superior. It is, the right resolution to play Mario 1 on, right? So, and it has Mario 1, a Mario 2, and Ball. But when you play Ball is the old Game & Watch ball game, right? When you play Ball, Mario's head is on the guy. It's not Mr. Game & Watch. It's Mr. Game & Watch's body with Mario's head.
Wait, so only Ball? So I can't play Flagman or Manhole or Octopus?
They are not on this, no. The Mario 2 is the real Mario 2. It's not, US Mario 2 Doki Doki Panic. It's actual, Mario 2.
The Lost Levels.
Yes, supposedly Lost Levels.
Oh no! What was I thinking? Of course, depending on which Game & Watch, the originals took those little tiny dime-looking cells of varying types.
Well, people don't realize it's like, why is it called Game & Watch? Because it's a game and it's also a timepiece, right?
Yep.
So is the case with this anniversary device. So who is this for? At $50, it's not for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's for people who want to keep it sealed in the box and never open it and have some kind of collector's thing, right? I don't know how much of a collector's thing it's going to be because I think it's readily available. It's not sold out.
It is sold out everywhere I checked.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I just ordered one like
Nintendo
days
is
ago.
officially out of stock. I'm poking around to see if I can
Oh.
get one anywhere else. Not that I'm gonna get one, but
It just showed up. I ordered it like, I didn't order it way in advance or anything. I ordered it like, a few
I think it
less
sold
than a
out
week,
post-release, but like not
maybe.
that quickly.
Anyway, it's for someone who does not have any sort of portable. It's like if you have a phone, I guess it's like I guess if you don't have any Game Boys or anything and you just want to play like Mario and that's it. It's like I don't know. It's really not that great to play Mario on. The controls are not the greatest, even though I mean the buttons themselves are great. It's just the form factor of a rectangle. It's not pleasant to hold, right? The screen is pretty impressive color-wise and brightness-wise for such a tiny device, especially at this resolution, the resolution of an NES. But the refresh rate is pretty good considering, but you can see ghosting like behind Mario a little bit. It's not, I don't think it's 60 FPS on this screen.
Yeah.
So what I'm actually using it for is not to play Mario so much, but more like the watch part. So if you try to use it as a watch or like a desk clock or a nightstand clock, it doesn't have any alarm feature. It's just showing you the time, and that's it. So
I feel like this is the kind of thing you either put on your desk at work or like leave in a waiting room for people to poke at, or on a coffee table for people to poke at.
Exactly. It's pretty good as a desk clock. So the thing is, if you don't have it plugged into USB all the time, it'll just eventually you'll see this surprisingly high resolution image of like Mario taking a nap, and then it will turn off.
Yeah.
So you have to keep the USB-C plugged in at all times for the clock to keep going. But if you do, it's actually a very nice clock because like basically Mario is like constantly doing stuff. He like hits his head on the numbers to change them. They're made out of bricks. You can change the scenery. Occasionally he'll like go into a water level or fight a Bowser just like randomly and do all sorts of cute stuff. It's like stuff is happening. All right. So it's pretty, it's not boring to have it there. It's like a really interesting timepiece. I guess you could just write a piece of software that does. It's like a screensaver with a clock on it, kind of.
Yeah, I guess I stand by. This is something you put on your desk at work, and every now and then you kind of fiddle with, or someone's like coming over to talk to you, and they pick it up and fiddle with it.
Yeah, I think it also has great potential as if somebody is good at hardware hacking, you could, perhaps, I'm pretty sure it's just a ROM and it, right, whatever in there. So you could easily, if you can get this to run any other program, suddenly it becomes very interesting. So hardware hacky type people should be all over this if you can get one.
The pro move would be to steal someone else's, hack it to add creepypasta that'll happen occasionally on the clock screen, and then put it back.
Creepypasta does happen on the clock screen normally. So it's like, you'll be like, what just happened? What? And also the background behind Mario. It's like during the day, it's just the normal Mario background color. But actually, it's like it fades like it's the sun sets.
Ooh.
And then it rises in the morning.
I know I kind of want one, but they're sold out everywhere.
All right, well, I got one. I ordered it like not less than a week ago, and it showed up like the next day. I think I ordered it last Friday, and it showed up Saturday.
Well, not too bad. I guess it sold out. I guess it came out. People were like, oh, it exists. And then it sold out.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't get one, I would have been like, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
It's like, whatever.
I mean, looking at my desk right now, I have 2 different identical smartphones just sitting here.
Yeah.
So
I sort of bought it on a whim, like, all right, whatever,
Yeah, I've spent more money on dumber things before, and this thing's actually pretty cool. Like,
I've been using it as a clock for like a couple days now. It's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
You don't want to turn the noise on, the sound. You can control the sound and the brightness. You don't want the sound on when it's in clock mode, because at least not all the time, because it goes like it makes noises constantly, like tick tick tick, like doot doot doot. It's annoying. It's fine if you're just like pulling it out of your pocket to check the time, but it's not fine if you've got it on all the time.
Nah.
Like on your desk.
So I bought something not on a whim. I put myself on the mailing list for this a long time ago. And I finally had chewed through the queue. I'm sure this means that version 2 of this is going to come out like right after I get it, but whatever. So I'm finally going to get a Valve Index because I'm kind of going, like I'm diving deep into VR. I'm not going to get into like the games I'm going to play with it or anything because that's more of a Tuesday thing.
2 of them.
There's more. There's actually Star Wars Squadrons is, don't buy VR just for Star Wars Squadrons, obviously. But Star Wars Squadrons is great in VR. If you can name like 4 other VR games you want to play, then low end, like mid-tier consumer VR, probably worth it for you. But 1, I want to develop in VR, and 2, I want to try more esoteric and interesting experiences, and I want to get away from the Facebook ecosystem because they've basically said that all Oculus devices will be garbage within a couple years. We've talked about that before. So I figured I gotta plan to get off of Oculus before that all breaks, because I'm never gonna make a Facebook account. So now I'm gonna put the index, which I just got the notification that I'm allowed to buy it, so I bought it. It hasn't shipped yet. I think it'll arrive next weekend, or maybe like
just they can't make enough to meet demand, or like
they just can't make enough to meet demand.
Demand is that high? They must not be able to make that many.
It basically, what you do is if you try to buy it on Steam, it'll say, okay, here's the deal. We'll put you in the queue. It's just a stacked queue. We just chew through the queue as fast as we can. When your number comes up, we're not just going to charge you and ship it. We're going to email you and give you a week to decide if you actually still want it.
Why don't they do this for pre-orders of everything in the world?
Why not? Can you imagine if everything?
They should do this for tickets to concerts.
They should do it for a 3080. I should be able to just get in a queue for a 3080. One day, like EVGA just emails me and they're like, "Yo, dog, you still want that 3080? Click here and it's yours." MSRP.
Different because you have several manufacturers. There isn't just like one product.
True.
They could each do their pre-orders in this fashion, and you could get on all the queues, and then the first one you buy, and the rest of them you say no.
Exactly. But it helps the scalpers because it's easier then to control like one Steam account, one thing. That's another reason why Valve can do this.
That's also true, yeah.
Because the problem is, now I'm going to get this thing. I can use it with my 1080. Like, it'll be fine. It is way better than my Oculus Rift. Like, everything about it is better. It'll work better. It'll work directly natively with Steam, so I can just uninstall.
Well, you'll find out if it's better on paper. You'll find out when you...
No, I've used one before. It is literally the best VR you can possibly get without going into non-consumer hardware. The refresh rate, the max refresh rate is 144, which is pretty crazy for VR. The resolution is nuts. Like it is an experience. It is a boutique, like powerful. This is the max. This is like the person who got one of the first 4K monitors for VR. And it's only $1,000. It's actually not that bad. So I'm going to rotate the Oculus Rift, the ancient OG one that I've got, into the living room. But I won't be able to use it out there until I get the 3080 because I ain't buying another video card. I want to take this 1080 and put it out there at a new HTPC. And I can't get a 3080 because scalpers bought them all. And it is literally scalpers. I was poking around online, and I could buy a 3080 right now if I was willing to pay double MSRP. There's tons of them.
But it's not the same. It's what happens when the supply is low. It's not the scalpers' fault. Scalpers just doing what they do.
Oh yeah, no, I make that argument all the time. When I yell at kids who are mad, like, "What do you mean PAX hotels sold out?" Like, dude, there's only so many hotels in Boston. Like, what do you want?
3080s. The fab is making them slowly.
But what's interesting is the scalper market has outpaced the consumer market. There are 3080s just for sale that you could just buy right now. Plenty of them. I could go buy 3 or 4 if I wanted, but I have to pay the markup, which is about 100% right now.
This is the same as why all the, the sellers are just really dumb and are not, responding to market pressure. The same reason you have all these vacant storefronts in the city. I guess now it makes sense to have it's like,
I mean,
jacking up their rent. They'd rather not sell it and set a high price than lower the price until it sells.
Now, the most efficient way to do this, like a 3080, the most efficient market for that could possibly exist for that would be to just they sell them and basically you put in a bid, like an exchange limit order book, and whoever's willing to pay the most gets the first one.
Well, this would be something, right? So we already have eBay, right? eBay exists, right? What if instead of eBay, we did like collective eBay where everyone people are either buyers or sellers. People have 3080s and people have money, right? If you're a buyer, you type in secretly the highest amount you are willing to pay for a 3080.
Scott, that is literally how the equity stock market works.
And then everyone who's got a 3080 puts in the lowest price they'll sell their 3080 for, and then it just swaps 3080s as much as possible.
And all you do is you take like a 0.1% commission to facilitate each transaction.
Right, but no website that does that exists, but it totally could.
It could. That's literally nothing did that for stocks, and then one day someone was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a stock exchange. I'm gonna write down everyone's orders on a piece of paper.
eBay does it, but eBay does it like each seller has to intentionally go
Yep.
and set up.
The key would be, because think about who you're selling this to. You sell it to normal people. Like I would go in there and type a number because I want a 3080.
I would also.
But you're also selling it to the scalpers. You have to get the scalpers to agree to type in their numbers here and sell it to them as, look, dudes, put in your numbers here and you'll maximize how much you get from your scalping with the real market.
Well, also, what the service that I would provide to both peoples, right, is I would justify my fees, increased fees, in fact, with escrow. Right? You send me the 3080, you send me the money. I verify it's a legit 3080. If it's not, I send the money back.
Guess what stock exchanges and clearinghouses do?
They verify that the shit's legit.
Yeah, that's exactly, like, basically it's not always escrow, but there are systems that are very similar. If I buy stock and you sell stock and we end up transacting with our stock on an exchange, the exchange guarantees that we're both going to actually deliver. I'm skipping a lot of steps, but it's basically that. I feel like something like that will exist someday because even if we have communism, communism's not going to cover like complete luxury goods like a 3080.
Let's just make it and ignore and do what all the Silicon Valley companies do, which is to ignore the fact that laws exist until it matters. And
I can't actually imagine anything illegal about this.
There's no regulation we would have to follow.
No, it's not illegal to be a scalper. You could just fucking scalp.
All right, so let's just make this website.
Yeah, let me add that to the hopper.
Okay.
It's in the hopper now. Let's do it. We'd start with the 3080s. I got to go find a scalper to talk to and be like, hey, would you use this? All right, in some actual like news, no one should have had to tell you this. The news is not that you should do this because that should be obvious. You should not travel for Thanksgiving. Do not travel anywhere to visit people for Thanksgiving. There is a global pandemic. Good God, do not fly anywhere to see family. Do not go on a road trip to see people who you're not already quarantining together with. Like if you already close your bubble with someone, like you and another family, mutually exclude the rest of the world, but your kids play together. That's one thing. Yeah. But do not add a new person. Yeah, if there's a person, it is hard to do GeekNights on Discord.
I saw this great graphic that was the bubble you think you have and the bubble you actually have, because it showed how, here's a bunch of people, and each person in the Venn diagram has a reasonable bubble of only 5 people, right? Yep. But all of those bubbles overlap with 1 or 2 people, and your actual bubble is ends up being 30 people, right? So, especially on a holiday situation, right? If you haven't already, holiday times, especially in the US, it's you're going to see the relatives you see less often. It's no, just see the people. If you're not seeing the people on a daily, frequent basis already, don't go see them.
Yep. Right? Especially because when you form a quarantine bubble, as opposed to visiting someone for a one-off, most people, I think, who actually do that and take it seriously do have that conversation of all right, how often do you actually bump into strangers? And you both have to make sure you're at the same level of risk, or one party in that group is going to be super screwed. But Uncle Joe, how often do you talk to Uncle Joe? You sure Uncle Joe isn't just going to the bar at night? Do you trust Uncle Joe?
Yep.
Did Uncle Joe get drunk at the last 4 Thanksgivings?
Well, even not Uncle Joe, right? It's okay, so you and your neighbor and your parents, right?
But anytime I walk outside, I walk past a doorman, so that doorman is not in my bubble, but I have a contact with that doorman on a regular basis.
You're not hanging with the doorman long enough to get sick.
No, but I'm walking past him.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to get sick walking past somebody. Not for 2 seconds, right? So you got your neighbors, 2 people, and you got your parents, 2 people, right? Okay. Well, your parents have you, right? 1 person, and they have their friends that their bubble is also a small little bubble, but those friends are in your bubble that you never see, right? And then those friends, right? Your parents' friends go to see someone on Thanksgiving, right? And now suddenly all the people that they saw on Thanksgiving and all the people that they previously saw are now in your little safe bubble of 5 people with just your parents and your neighbor, right? Has now been, gets contact with a whole crap ton of people because your
Well,
parents
never
friends
mind.
went to see someone on Thanksgiving.
Never mind the fact that if someone flies or travels a long distance, that just opens up a whole door.
That person's going to go into a one-person bubble.
Like, I am not going anywhere near an airplane until like 2022, probably.
Yeah, definitely not a boat.
But the news is the CDC in the US actually advised Americans to not travel for Thanksgiving. And that is notable because up until this point, due to our current president and the Republican Party, they basically prevented federal agencies from telling anyone to not do anything. And it is notable that a federal agency is actually giving people good advice again. That is a very good sign about the long-term future of America. But I don't think many people are going to take that advice, and I think there's going to be a big shit show about 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. But at least to just make sure it doesn't happen to, you can't control what the rest of the, people in the ridiculous world we live in are going to do, right? There's nothing, if it happens, it's like, it sucks. I don't want it to happen. But what can we really do to stop it besides tell people good advice? Not much, right? So, well, what's important is just, worry about your own people. It's like, not because that's a good way to think about the world to be tribal and selfish, right? You should care for all the people. But, when it comes to action, you got to accept that you can't do anything for the other people, even though you might want to, or there's little you can do. Right?
Like I was out walking the other night and I walked past a bar or a restaurant that was open and had indoor dining, and there were a shit ton of people in there. There's nothing I can do about those people.
Nope. Just stay
other than
avoid
them.
Right.
So last thing, I've been kind of, when I'm exercising, working my way through the original Unsolved Mysteries because it's all just free on YouTube. Like,
you
it's
can
totally
watch
free.
Anything, you have access to all the video, audio, book content in the history of, and you choose all the things to watch. Some Garbo TV show from the 80s, 90s. Whatever.
I'm not watching every episode and I'm skipping all the boring ones, but basically I'm watching all the like UFO bullshit ones or like ghost nonsense because they're actually, as an adult, I have not seen most of these since I was a kid. They're actually really, really, really funny if you were an adult watching a lot of them. But so I noticed, and people have been bugging me about this because a lot of people know I'm watching Unsolved Mysteries again, and I have a lot of feelings about that show, that there is a new, like a reboot of Unsolved Mysteries that's on Netflix. But it's actually, I have not watched it yet, but a lot of people have been telling me that it is kind of like serious, like it's more like a real documentary, and that they are earnestly presenting cases where they believe the public could help solve this crime or bring someone to justice or save somebody. And it seems like it might be kind of like the original show where for all the ghost nonsense, they actually did solve a lot of crimes for real with people calling in tips. But
I also wonder though, is like a lot of those, especially the crime ones, it's like if you're not local to where that crime was, it's like you can't. What are the odds you can help? Right? You're so. Yeah.
Unless it was one of them
who moved to your neighborhood recently.
A lot of them were that someone was like on the lam after a murder, like, and the phone call was someone in a different state who like recognized the person under a different name coming to their golf club or some crap like that. But in this case, this news came by just while I was looking for news today because I didn't really want to talk about the coup attempt or the global pandemic or any of that nonsense too much. And not only is the Netflix show apparently like legit like this, the new one, but they're actually even like right now, there are updates on cases they have covered in the new show, and they're asking the public for more information, and the police are following up. Like, it seems to be making progress on some cases. So I'm going to link to one of those.
Okay.
Like they're asking about all these people who went to some party.
These are like things that the police should be doing and not, harassing,
Oh yeah, it's almost like we need to completely re-envision what the concept of police is. Because right now, if I call the police because someone stole my bike, they're not going to do shit.
That's right.
All right. But anyway, things of the day. What do you got?
What do I have? So I think I used them as a thing of the day before. There is an amazing musical group from Korea, of course, known as Norazo. They did a song that, I mean, they've done a lot of songs, but this first song I saw from them, I think was the Cider song, If in Korea, I think they refer to Sprite as cider, right? CID, whatever. And then they also had the shower song. And today, they have released the bread song. The music video is kind of amazing, I think, because of the restrictions due to the pandemic and such. They want to release a music video, but you got to get like a whole crew together, right? You got to get a lot of people in one place to make a music video. They don't want to do that. It's it's a lot of work, especially when I don't think they're making as much money as some of the other major acts out there, right? They must be making enough money to keep this going though. So the entire music video is green screened with hilarious CG and like 3 costumes and just like a couple backup dancers and like that's it. And it's just like it's like I think what we're gonna be able to tell, right? Looking back, like.
Who knew production and who didn't when they didn't have all their staff?
You're going to be able to look back and say, you see, this video is made. We can tell this video is from 2020 because look at how they tried to reduce how many people were in it, right? But yeah, hilarious, excellent video.
Well, wait until there's like movies about the year 2020 or set during this whole pandemic. Like, will everyone wear masks or will they just not, because that would be weird in a movie if the movie wasn't about the pandemic.
Right. And so if you like wacky comedy type stuff, the sort of ridiculous, eccentric, Eurobeat, high energy ridiculousness, these are your people.
Yeah. So this is just a really cute animation by a third-year CalArts student. I just stumbled onto it the other day. It's actually a YouTube video from 2013.
Oh, old. Okay.
It's old, but I just never seen it until recently. It's called Moon Goddess. It's the story of Aphrodite. The story where dude accidentally sees her naked and she turns him into a deer?
Yes.
Well, this is a take on that. But dude, Aphrodite's just there. Or Artemis is just there being cool. And horny dude shows up being annoying, and Artemis turns horny dude into a deer, and it's cute and funny after that.
Oh, yeah, I did watch this. Yeah, I remember.
Yep, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
In the meta moment, I haven't read any more Tales of Genji. I have not gotten past the point where I read 2 previously yet.
I also have not.
It's a game of chicken on which one of us gets to a new page first, thus triggering the apocalypse. New code of conduct. There's conventions. The MagFest virtual convention was announced, so I assume we're going to be taking part in that in some fashion.
I hadn't thought of that, but I guess that will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be a VR Gaylord.
It's like, I guess I'll go to that. It's like, oh wait, no, I probably have to do a panel.
Yeah, we're going to have to set up all our ridiculous nonsense and do a panel again.
No.
Hey, we put all the hard work in. We know how to do it, and we've gotten through the growing pains of. Let me tell you, it is really fucking hard to record a panel the style of how Rim and Scott normally do panels when we're not in the same room. Like, I cannot stress enough.
I guess the cold is going to make outside not an option.
I know. We never even got to the point of doing outside as much as like we wanted to, because it was also a pain in the ass.
Yep.
So we're going to have to go through this one more time. I feel like I want to try to structure the kinds of panels we do to be more conducive to this environment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means or what that looks like, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's a lot of post-processing and a lot of false starts and a lot of talking over each other that I got to edit out.
You get to defrost the shrimpy?
I guess Scott's got to defrost some shrimp.
Okay. I want to be able to eat soon-ish.
That's fair. That's fair. I stuck a marker in there. I had a new hotkey to my knob. All right, we'll just get right into the main bit. So, it's perfect time to talk about this. It is now officially hoodie weather, though it's rapidly approaching full winter coat weather. But it's still at the point where, like, if I go outside, all I got to put on is a hoodie. Like, I'm not. It's not that cold yet. And we've done a lot of shows on clothes over the years. That's one of our clothes and food are 2 of our like go-to. What are we going to do on Thursday? Look around the room, think about a food we've eaten recently, and do a whole show on it. But hoodies, actually, I think a lot about hoodies. I own a lot of hoodies now. I got a lot to say about hoodies, I think. And we'll get into jackets if we run out of steam on hoodies somehow.
I don't think we run out of steam on hoodies. There's a lot to say about hoodies, right?
There is a lot to say about hoodies.
I was watching some videos on YouTube, you know, and even before we decided on this episode about like the history of hoodies. And it was going way back to like, you know, monks, right? You think about a monk wearing a cloak with a hood, right? Um, and it's showing basically the history of like hooded garments, which are basically all hoodies, right? They're just different
Yep.
manufacturing methods, different materials, and such, right? Over time. And you know, what we think of today is like, you know, the Champion hoodie made out of cotton jersey, right?
Yep. We think of hoodies like they're usually a pullover or a zip up. They got a hood. They got two pockets in the side.
Yeah, it's a newer garment. It's like, you know, it's not that old on its own, but the hood in general, you know, the hooded, you know, jacket of some kind is much goes way further back, and they're all, you know, related. They're all like the same thing. And there's just, you know, I guess, you know, if you're a fashion historian, I guess there's a such thing as that, right? You know, there's probably tons of history about every kind of garment, right? But the hoodie in particular is just really sort of fascinating in, you know, what it means, you know, culturally, practically, right? You know, the different scenarios in which you wear it, you know, places you've seen it that are, you know, significant, right? You know, and like the signals that it sends and how that's changed over time, you know, the types of people who would wear it.
Yep, like scrolling through this Wikipedia, it shows a picture from the 70s of people wearing actually modern looking hoodies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like on the front page of this week, like right at the top of this Wikipedia article, because the 70s, they weren't that common yet, at least not the way they were later. But you also see like the UK, they have a whole section on like bars banning them, getting into the cultural aspects of hoodies.
Yep, exactly. We went from a time.
Oh, great. A picture of the Unabomber. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you've got Unabomber wearing a hoodie. That's iconic. You've got sort of, you've seen, what's the movie? Hot Fuzz, right?
Oh, yeah.
Town or like the hoodies, right? It's sort of like, you know, wearing a hoodie is like sinister. It was associated with like, you know, gang violence, right?
Yep. It was like associated with trying to hide your identity when you needed to across multiple cultural contexts, regardless of if that was.
Yeah, the hood has so many uses, right? Comfort, warmth.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if it's actually cold, a hood on a proper winter jacket is crucial.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it went from that, but you've also got like, you know, at least say Silicon Valley CEOs, right? Wearing t-shirt and hoodie, right? As opposed to suit, which would all CEOs would wear previously.
Yep.
Right.
Now it's funny because when I think about my own life, I never wore hoodies really until a few PAXs in when I bought that PAX hoodie. I never liked hoodies because in fact, I never liked long-sleeved garments of any kind, and I tried to avoid wearing them at all costs for much of my life.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Like I never, as a kid, like up until high school, like after high school, never wore sweaters like ever, except a few my mom bought me and kind of pushed me into wearing. In retrospect,
right. Well, sweaters are a little bit different. I avoided sweaters in my youth because the ones I had were like the itchy wool kind.
Oh yeah, I had a few of those. My mom actually made me get all these Abercrombie ones that were pretty fashionable, but I had kid brain But my idea of fashion was kid brain fashion, so I didn't like all the fashionable things.
I eventually came back to sweaters when I got ones that weren't itchy. Right?
Yeah, but even non-itchy, like my whole life, I hate wearing long sleeves, and only in my like late adulthood do I tolerate wearing long sleeves, except in like extreme temperatures.
Off a hoodie if you want. No one's stopping you.
Yeah, good. But in high school, middle school, like whenever I needed something warm, like the kind of weather today where I'd like put on a hoodie. In those times, I was one of those kids who would put on a flannel button-down shirt that I did not actually button, and that was what served as my warming garment. I was a flannel kid.
The hoodie, I feel like it's, you know, it's not quite a jacket and it's not quite a shirt. It's like, you know, putting on just a plain sweatshirt, you could, right? But the plain sweatshirt is more of like either a lounge wear, an athletic wear. Maybe you're going outside to like rake the leaves or something, you know, it's sort of like, it's, you know, right? Whereas the hoodie is like, I need to be warmer than I am now, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily like going out. If I'm going out, right, I'm going to put on a jacket because I'm going out, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on the weather. I generally also avoid, I don't have light jackets. I have full jacket and I have like nothing.
Sure, but it's like you can put on the jacket, go outside. When you get at your destination, you take off the jacket, put it on a coat rack.
True, but you keep the hoodie with you.
Right. Then you would, when you leave, right? So the jacket is just for keeping you warm during that outside transitionary period. The hoodie, it's like the hoodie is making you warmer, but you don't take it off. It's an indoor, outdoor, right?
Yep. Well, you know what? You know where the change was for me, because
I'll
I
even
mentioned.
put a jacket on over the hoodie.
Yep.
Right. It's like, okay, it's a little bit cold inside, but it's, it's like too cold inside to just wear a shirt only. But it's really too cold outside.
You just described MagFest.
Yeah, so it's like hoodie, then jacket. So it's like I get where I'm going. I take off a jacket, but it's still cold. It's a little bit cold inside.
Yep.
I got the hood.
But it was really like it was conventions that got me to start wearing hoodies, primarily because the way I use a hoodie is it is the versatile garment for the variety of conditions I will run into, primarily at conventions. Like, tabletop's really cold for some reason, but when I walk out of the main area, it's really warm. I can take the hoodie off and like tie it around my waist. That's also fashionable. If it's really cold, I can pull the hood up and put my hands in the pockets.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had it like, wherever my office is where I'm working, I always have like a hoodie on the chair at work and I have a hoodie on the chair at home. And it's sort of like, okay, the place that you are frequently, you've just got this hoodie at the ready. In case you're cold or whatever, you can just put it on. Maybe you just you're going to go out, but you're going out quickly. Well, the hoodie's right here. Grab, go out quickly, and then come back in. Or maybe it's going to rain, but you're not sure it's going to rain. And maybe it's not, if it does rain, it's not going to be like umbrella raincoat rain.
Yep.
And you're not going to be out that long. You just don't want your head to get that wet. So you just need the hood. You don't need any other kind of, hood action. Or maybe it's not that cold. You don't need a big, heavy jacket, but it's going to be windy. You want to keep your ears warm. You don't want to wear a hat.
Yeah, the thing is, though, the hoodie hoods tend not to be windbreakers. And if I'm worried about wind, I have a lot of specialized sports jackets and sports gear to cover that sort of thing. And I'll use those if I'm going out.
The wind is that severe that you need a specialized gear. Right?
But if it's not that severe, I would just never put anything up on my head in the first place. Like, I almost never pull the hood up on a hoodie, like, ever.
Oh, I use the hood a lot.
I basically know. I guess I have a lot of hair. I basically have a built-in hoodie. The one thing I hate, though, my whole life, I have hated pullovers. Like I cannot stand a pullover hoodie because the whole point of me wearing a hoodie is that I can take it off and put it on really quickly without like messing up my hair or like any hassle. Like I can keep it unzipped most of the time. I only zip it up if I'm cold. If it's a pullover, there's a little more hassle to take it on or put it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have hair to worry about, at least not right now, but I still do prefer the zip hoodie to the pullover hoodie.
People in the chat are really talking about their hoodie preferences, but people are talking about these button-up hoodies, which I don't think I've ever seen in my life.
Button-up hoodie's kind of weird. It's like, it's even harder to put on.
I mean, I refuse to wear a button fly. I remember those got popular for a little bit. I was like, no, that just delays me peeing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the pullover hoodie is just sort of like I don't understand why they still make it when the zipper exists. Is it cheaper? Is like wind going to come in the zipper?
I mean, it would. Ostensibly, it's warmer, but the problem for me is if I want something that's like warm, where the zipper is going to matter, I'm wearing a jacket at that point. And if you're really cold, you get a jacket where you've got the special zippers that are insulated. Like all my ski jackets are like that, and all my sports jackets are like that. But I also focus on hoodies as a fashion thing. Like I mostly wear them, like I said, in conventions because they're versatile, but also because every hoodie I own is definitely social currency. They're all either like PAX hoodies or like from some property, or like I've got a Glitch Wave hoodie that I really like. Like they're definitely primarily fashion accessory, except at convention.
In 2020, or at least more recently, right? It's like, say when like Rocky wore a hoodie, right? It's like that wasn't like a fashion item. That was like a workout clothing, right?
Yep.
Like a,
like I'd always imagine hoodies as being black or gray, maybe red, like all one color, cotton cheap. But now when I think of hoodie, I think of like my like line of fancy hoodies that are hanging over there.
Right. It's like the hoodie now it's like it's utilitarian and fashionable at the same time. You can show off like your sweet hoodie. I mean, Champion, the company, I guess it was originally called something else at the time they invented the hoodie, but it became Champion, which I don't know who owns it now. Wikipedia will probably tell you.
Nah.
But the brand still exists, and that was the brand that invented the hoodie. The hoodies they make now are like super nice, fancy fashion hoodies, right? They're not like, I mean, I guess you could wear one and go rake the leaves, but you probably wouldn't because it's a lot of
Yep.
money.
I went through
They're
this
not
like
the
recent rapid transition, like about 2019, where I only owned one hoodie. It was that original PAX one that I got, and it wore the fuck out because I wore it a lot. And I started to like have to get a new hoodie, wear it out, get a new hoodie, wear it out. And I changed to a strategy now of own a bunch of hoodies and rotate through them so no one of them wears out particularly quickly.
All right, so a champion, the default pullover champion hoodie, the reverse weave hoodie is like $60, right? But if you scroll down immediately, right, past the first row of boring old hoodies, you see just tons of fancy hoodies that are all fashiony. We got Mario hoodie, this Toad hoodie, Mario hoodie. What's this? Oh,
I
we all
really
kinds
like
of
hoodies that have a striking, even if they're kind of plain on the outside, the inside of the
some with
hood.
iridescent logos on them. Here's one with a giant C for champion on the front. Here's some camo hoodies. Here's one with a different color hood. It's like a white hoodie, but the hood itself is like turquoise and it's kind of fluffy, right? And like the materials, right? So we think of, at least in terms of the champion hoodie, right? You're thinking of like, you know, that sort of cotton jersey, sweatshirt, sweatpant material.
Yep, I don't know. I only have one hoodie like that, and I only use it for like ski lodge stuff.
Right. Hoodies today, it's like you got fleece lined hoodies, and that's like that's tame. You've got like velour kind of hoodies, all kinds of, you know, fancy materials with different textures, some really smooth hoodies, right? You got hoodies with like, you know, fancy sport tech type, you know, wools and things, right? You know, it's all the same shape basically, but different thicknesses, right? Different. Here's one with a mesh pocket on the front with a zipper, right? That's
Ooh.
obviously not utilitarian pocket, right? It's, I mean,
You know, actually, I realized one benefit of the pullover hoodie is usually the two pockets combined for added warmth on the hands.
usually you have the kangaroo pocket on the pullover hoodie. So if you're into the kangaroo pocket, the zipper isn't gonna.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. What I only have one hoodie that has this. It's that original PAX Prime hoodie, the blue one, the one that pilled up like we all have. The thing about that one is in the right pocket, there's a little like sub pocket that is exactly the right size to wedge a cell phone into.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually love that feature and use it a lot. And I've never found another hoodie that has that little tiny sub pocket that is exactly the right size for a cell phone.
Well, the pocket on the hoodie is another great thing, right? Because, you know, you think about it, it's like, okay, you get pants pocket, right? Whatever. And you got your, normally, if a shirt has a pocket, it's like a dorky pocket, you know, protector pocket, right? The hoodie gives you pockets in a place that a coat gives you pockets. But now you can have those pockets indoors. Like those, if you're wearing a hoodie, those are now the primary, most accessible, most useful, you know, easily grabbable pockets.
Now, I wouldn't put anything like super important. Like I'm not putting my keys in those pockets because I feel like they'd fall out if I wasn't careful, depending on the hoodie. Some hoodies have like the pockets have like a stitch at the bottom, and they're angled the right way to where stuff won't fall out, kind of like bike jerseys. But I've seen some hoodies where if you like look the wrong way or bend slightly, everything just falls out of the pockets.
But also, if you are maybe wearing clothing that does not have any pockets, you know, say maybe you're wearing, you know, so maybe like some tights for some exercise, like some yoga situation, right? It's like those don't have pockets on them usually, right?
Yep.
Or, you know, maybe you're wearing like a skirt and it doesn't have pockets, or a dress with no pockets. You know, you could pop a hoodie on over to the top, pockets, right? It's a, you know, and it's such a, the hoodie is such a, you know, gender neutral garment, right? It's like pretty much anyone can wear one at any age, right? At any time, in almost any situation, right? A hoodie can be appropriate, right? You could even see someone like wearing a fancy gown at a ball, right? But meanwhile, on their chair at their table where their assigned seating is, they got a hoodie over the back of the chair. Yep. That doesn't seem strange at all. That's perfectly normal.
You know, my day job's in capital markets, and just because of the nature of my work, sometimes I'm wearing like a blazer, and sometimes I'm wearing nice jeans, a t-shirt of some kind, and a hoodie, and that is just totally accepted and expected. So the fanciest hoodie I own, in terms of like the quality, it's weird that this is the one. Like, it is just so much higher quality than any other hoodie I've ever owned. Is, of all things, that Penny Arcade, remember Automata?
Oh, that one, yeah.
And they made that special like black on black on black hoodie. That hoodie ended up just being like such high quality. Like that is the best hoodie I own by far.
Mm. So, early in my life, most of the hoodies I got, I would buy, before buying clothes online and going to fancy stores, right? There was like, the local clothing store that was in Connecticut, right? Where you just buy clothes at.
Yep.
I think it's called like Bob's something. I mean, it wasn't related to the discount furniture, whatever. Um, and I don't think it was like a huge chain, but imagine like a Kohl's basically.
Nah.
Same kind of place, only clothes, mostly clothes.
Yeah, I was Midwest, so we were mostly national chains.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, it was still a chain. It just, but you'd go in there, and if I wanted a hoodie, I would get I would get a Rangers hoodie or a Mets hoodie or a sports team related hoodie, right? And who knew who it was made by? And I didn't care about clothing quality then, right? And those are the hoodies I had, right? Just whatever. I think maybe I did have the actual champion hoodie at one point. I don't remember. But hoodies are actually kind of like expensive, right? Compared to like, say, a shirt, right? It's like, if some artist you like is like making merch, it's like you want to buy their t-shirt. It's like, oh, okay, $20, maybe 25, 35 if it's extra fancy, right? They're making a hoodie. It's like, yeah, it's 60. It's like a lot of money suddenly. But then, I started buying hoodies later with stuff I cared about on them, right? Like PAX hoodies. But they were making these PAX hoodies on basically the way that works is, some artist is just buying stock hoodies from some company, Gildan or American Apparel or Hanes or who knows who, right? For some one of those, major clothing companies, just buying blank hoodies and screen printing on them. And the hoodie that they choose is not always going to be the best hoodie.
Yep. The PAX hoodies have definitely gotten worse and worse quality as time has gone on. Like, I'm glad I own.
Buying in bulk the cheapest blank hoodie they can get and then putting, Paxifying them.
Like, I'm very glad I owned the first, like, PAX Blue hoodie, like the good one, and that first PAX East hoodie, because those are way higher quality than the hoodies I've seen at later PAXs.
Quality, but the quality overall compared to all hoodies in the world is still not that high.
True.
So the biggest thing that wears out on the hoodies, the problems I've had with them personally, is the hood, the inside of the hood can get kind of bleh, even if you wash it, especially if the lining is thin or if the color is bright and your head oils get on there. It's like you just can't wash them out no matter what. And especially I got a bald head, so it's even worse if you're I guess Room's not putting the hood on, so it won't happen.
Yeah, I never put the hood on, so my hoods are all like immaculate.
The dark colored hoodie obviously has less problem with that sort of thing. And then the other thing is that a thin material, right, can wear, because you're wearing a hoodie a lot. Like you might wear the hoodie every day or frequently, right? So what ends up happening is it just gets worn out because you're wearing it more. And the areas that it gets worn out are elbows. If you're putting your elbows on tables a lot, especially, which I do, I'm doing it right now. And also the pockets, if you got stuff in the pockets, sagging them down, rubbing on the inside of them, right? And so I've had hoodies with like a hole in the pocket, or a hoodie where the elbow is like all my PAX hoodies, you look at the elbow and they're like clear. It looks like someone just like rubbed them a whole bunch.
Well, that's especially because when you're wearing a PAX hoodie at PAXs, because we go to a lot of PAXs, half the con, you're sitting there with your elbows down on a table playing a tabletop game.
But I do it also just every single day. That same hoodie I wear at PAX, I bring to work, and then I wear at work all day. But yeah, they wear out. So recently I went online and I was searching through hoodies to find I didn't care what was on the hoodie. I was okay with plain color. I just wanted to find the strongest, most comfortable, highest quality hoodie that was available.
I think that's the Automata Penny Arcade hoodie.
No, I don't. You haven't seen this hoodie that I got. So I don't know if this one is the best one, because basically what I did is I went and I read a whole ton of hoodie reviews and watched hoodie reviews on YouTube. And I learned a lot about all the different available hoodies to choose from. And I chose one, and that one that I chose was so great. So I have nothing to compare it against. There may be a greater one that I simply, because I just chose one based on other people's advice, I chose wisely. Or it could be that, no, actually, this isn't the best hoodie. There is a better one. I just didn't discover it. But it's so much better than any hoodie that I've owned. And you can tell immediately out of the box, or out of the bag, that it's so great. So it's made by this company I never heard of before called American Giant. The hoodie it's almost too thick. It's like, it's super warm when you put it on. It's like, whoa, this is I was like, I had to like take it off because I'm too warm. It's like they had a medium weight one, but they sold out. So I kind of want to get one of those. The elbows are actually reinforced, right? So the material for the sleeve, it's got a full sleeve, but then there's an extra piece of material that comes from on top of the sleeve, right? It's like an extra layer that goes from the front, for like half of the forearm, like the bottom half of the forearm, all the way to covering the elbow. So it's like double reinforced there. And the zipper is way strong. The hood, right? So I look on the PAX hood, for example, the PAX hoodie, and it's 2 layers on the PAX hoodie. There's the cotton jersey, and then there's like this thin lining on the inside, right? This hoodie, the American Giant one, whatever, is the hood is 2 layers of cotton jersey.
Yeah.
It's like a double thick hood, right? It's like ridiculously solid and heavy, and the size and shape of the hood varies a lot. Actually, I watched a lot of like hoodie reviews, and they were like, this hood covers my whole head. This one doesn't. This one's super huge. Look, you can't even see my face. There was so much variance in the hood shape. This hood keeps falling down. I can't see with this one, but the hood shape was just excellent. So yeah, I think the problem is it's just really hard to get sort of the 2-in-1 deal, right? There's nobody out there who's taking an expensive, ultra high quality garment and then also putting their cool webcomic art on it, right? The webcomic artist wants to sell hoodies. They're going to sell $50 hoodies, not $150.
Because most people buying a hoodie for the intellectual property that is associated with it are doing it solely for that purpose.
Exactly.
It is social currency.
I don't know how much market there is for, anyway, but yeah, it's the nicest hoodie I've ever had probably. And people I saw who had it and reviewed it said it lasted them like many, many years and was still like new, and holding it, I can, even though it's only like a week old or whatever, I can see how that could be the case. And I hope it is. So we'll find out.
Yeah, the hoodie I got, and it's sad because I got it literally like I ordered it right before PAX East. Went to PAX East, I got this hoodie, and I can't fucking go anywhere, so no one's seen me wear it, really, except, like, the burger joint downstairs. But I got this, like, super glitch wave hoodie that... It's like a slim-fitting hoodie. Like, I've seen a lot more slim fits these days. And it's my favorite hoodie. And I was actually weirdly looking forward to wearing it at a PAX, and I can't. Because I'm kind of done wearing the PAX hoodie to the PAX. That's starting to feel more and more like I'm wearing the shirt of the band to the band's concert.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to signal some other thing that I'm interested in when I'm at a PAX, because I'm a PAX person. I'm at the PAX.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
I think that killed enough time.
Okay, but yeah, hoodies, essential garment of, the times.
I feel like hoodies are going to be very iconic of the late 2010s and 2020s, like in terms of fashion.
There's so many other, every kind of clothing, right? You can go on and on about if you knew more about it than we did.
Yep.
But my guess would be if you're going to pick one particular clothing item, right? That really symbolizes, the time that we have lived in. Like the hoodie is way up there, right? It's certainly not like the jean. The jean was for a previous era.
Yep.
Right? Not that we don't wear them, but I think it's more symbolic of a time before us.
And I think the types of jeans people wear, like the fashion of jeans, has actually moved around a lot over the last couple of decades. So it's not like
the baseball hat is strong, but it's not the baseball hat. It's like.
Yep. I haven't seen a lot of other types of hats get like people aren't really wearing berets a lot in the U.S.
It could be the sneaker. The sneaker's really strong. Right?
True.
The sneaker pretty close.
But that's really dependent. That's like I think there's more cultural bounds to the fancy sneakers than there is to a fancy hoodie.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy. I'm just saying like all hoodie versus all sneaker, right? Anyway.
I guess I could make a GeekNights hoodie high quality with the new logos and everything. Like that could be classy.
Yeah, but how high quality are we gonna make it?
Yep, I can make it mid quality without doing any work because I do have that Amazon account. But high quality would take some effort. I don't know.
Let's see, just so people are aware. Let's see the hoodie that I bought is the American Giant Classic Full Zip. It costs $112.
Yeah. So would you buy a $120 GeekNights hoodie? Otherwise, you're not gonna get a high quality hoodie.
I mean, if this hoodie does end up lasting for many, many years more than other hoodies have lasted, then that's actually kind of like a bargain, right? Because you think a regular hoodie $60. This is the cost of 2 hoodies. If it lasts as long as 2 shitty hoodies, you're saving, right?
Someone in the chat said something about Root hoodies.
Like the board game.
That's what I was assuming. Maybe it's just a brand because I don't see any Root game.
There is a company that I think called Roots that makes hoodies.
I think it's Roots makes good hoodies, not there are Roots hoodies.
There's a clothing company called Roots. If you go to roots.com. The thing I don't like about the Roots ones, actually, I did look at those, is that they prominently put the Roots logo like right on the front of pretty much all of their clothing. And I like to have clothing where the logo's not on there, right? You go to Uniqlo, and it's like very few clothes at Uniqlo have a Uniqlo logo on the clothes.
True.
It's like if you buy a red shirt there, it's a red shirt. But if you buy a Roots hoodie, it says Roots on the front. Odds are it says Roots on the front.
Yeah, I don't want that. That just reeks of Abercrombie and Fitch.
Well, I think the one I hate the most is Super Dry, because Super Dry clothes, actually the aesthetic of those clothes, I like a lot.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but I do like it a lot.
The only thing I'm not a fan of is the puffy jacket. I've never liked puffy jacket.
Every single item of clothing in the Super Dry store says Super Dry on it. And it's like, if you had just taken your logo off of that clothing, I would have paid probably more than what you're charging to buy it, right? Because the shape, it looks pretty good, But no, it says Super Dry. And I'm like, get that shit out of here, right? So yeah.
All right.
I think